Welcome to the Signature Sip podcast, a real estate podcast with myself, John Steingraber, and my beautiful wife, Michelle Pais. Cheers to the beginning of Signature Sip. I feel like now we're back and we have a lot to give. We have a lot to offer.
Till this day, by the way, I have to say, the excitement happens the second I land the deal, not when I get paid. It's the art of the deal, landing that up.
Right, it's the chase. Not only are we going to be giving a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experiences and stories, but we're going to bring on guests.
I bartended, babe, so something that you and I have in common, even though...
Babe, you bartended for how long?
3 months?
A day or two?
It's a podcast.
So you were like eating a 𝗨 in 𝗪's bakery.
I think I was having a pastel de nata.
Okay, pastel de nata.
And a galon.
And if you're a realtor, if you're an investor, you're going to want to subscribe to this podcast. All right, so today we have an interesting topic, how to brand yourself so everybody wants to work with you. So
it's a good topic.
Yeah, it's a great topic. And I think you're an expert at this. You've obviously done a great job. I mean, heck, we're walking through the mall and people stop you and they're like, are you Michelle Pais? So people obviously know who you are, and you've done a great job of staying front of mind. And really what I think that you've done an amazing job on that you could talk about today is anything that you've done, you've always leveraged it.
Right.
So anyway, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or Spotify, we have a ton of podcasts out. So subscribe and like and comment, please. It'll help the algorithm. So we appreciate that. We're trying to get the word out on all the value that we give both agents and investors with the Signature Sip podcast with Michelle Pais and myself, John Steingraber. So babe, why don't you tell everybody, like when you were brand new, right? What did you do to start branding yourself so people would know who you are?
A lot of marketing. I didn't really know anybody. No one knew who I was. So I knew that the power of marketing would obviously get me known, at least in the area that I lived in. So I strategically started to farm an area. I made sure that at the time, direct mail was my best friend. And I have said this before, I have built my business on direct mail. Nowadays, I don't think it works as much. But back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't have any of YouTube. We didn't have any of the other stuff. So the only thing that we really had is we had ourselves to knock on doors. We had our time. We had open houses that I made sure that I did every single Sunday for 15 years, by the way. But I also did a very strategic marketing campaign toward my farm area. So that did consist of a lot of direct mail. I also invested where I lived because I wanted to make a point of meeting homeowners, and I also met the guards at this development, the security guards at the gate. So every time somebody would want to visit the gate, the guard would have to either let them in or not. And if they were looking for a property, guess what? They would give them my business card, right? So I just I established a relationship with them. And then I think that year, the first couple years of marketing to that development, I remember selling at least 13 to 15 homes in 1 year, which is a lot for a 300 unit development. And that just kind of started to grow. And then So
you sold like all of them in there?
I was known as Miss, it was crazy. They called me Miss Park Place. But that was strategic. That was like really strategic. And I had this corny slogan, when it's time to sell, call Michelle. Corny, it's
that makes
stupid.
Sense.
And it was like a little jingle that rhymed.
To sell, call Michelle. Did you make a jingle out of that or what?
The kids actually didn't make a jingle out of this, but I was very, very involved when it came to marketing. I did not want to hand that off to anybody because there's a lot of people that do marketing, right? Even if you're doing a postcard, it's
not sending postcards. It's like what's on it and getting people to actually react to it, right?
And the design behind it.
Right.
So I've gone on appointments where people literally say, I've gotten piles of mailings, but you're the one that I saved because it was so nicely designed, right? And I had gotten that compliment. And I think it's also because I've invested in hiring a digital marketer and not just doing it myself or just allowing anyone to do it. So, what you send out is everything. It's your brand.
So the little things matter when it comes to marketing. It's not just checking off the box like, oh, I sent a letter, I sent a postcard. It's really right? Putting everything into that to make it look beautiful,
Right.
to represent you.
Right. And it's the messaging, and you have to be consistent with it. And that's important. Whatever you do, you have to be very consistent. Do you have a logo? Make sure the logo is consistent. Make sure that, do you have a slogan? Make sure that's consistent, because people are going to start remembering you. And then the power of marketing is, you need to at least be in front of as many people as possible, but also you have that, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 touch rule, right? So the goal is to be seen everywhere. So it started with a small development with postcards, and then it went to billboards, and then it went to, we're at the mall now, right? But it just went from social media ads and YouTube ads and magazine covers and on and on and on and on. So it's not just one thing. I think you have to do a series of things, and then just make sure that you're very focused on who your ideal client is and what it is, what's your messaging, what's your brand messaging, and what is your niche, who's your niche market, who's your ideal audience, and just be in front of them.
Right. So one of the things to kind of break it down, you have the grassroots stuff, right? Like door knocking, right? Which you could do.
Which I did.
Yeah. Open houses, right? You can.
Many of those.
I think the way that you do your open house is going to establish your brand, right? If somebody walks into your open house, is it like any other open house, or are they like, wow, like this open house is different, right? Your music, you're setting everything up, you have food, you have, a different setup versus, every other open house that they're going to. I think that makes you stand out. And if sellers are walking into the door, at your open house, or neighbors, I think they're going to see that. So everything that you do, it's like 𝗕𝗪𝗁𝒂𝒃's quote, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. Everything that you do, you should consider it as part of your brand, right? Your business card, your postcards, right? All that traditional type of marketing is going to impact your brand. And obviously your social media profiles, your bio, your, where are you leading people to? What's your message? How you're introducing yourself, your website, all that. And then you have things that are a little bit tougher, which is like PR, right? Where you've gotten on the cover of magazines, you've gotten articles written about you. How did you do that?
I think it was NJ Biz. I applied. There was an award.
So you entered into a contest or award. Okay,
That's
so
right.
that's something that everybody can do.
That's right. And there actually, if you're under 30, there are, Realtor magazine has 30 under 30 award, which I was already in my 30s when I found out about that, so I wasn't eligible. So I entered into award. I was nominated, and then from there I got a ton of free publicity. And then I made the cover of some of their magazine, and then I just leveraged that. Then from that cover, someone else saw it.
When you say leverage that, I want everybody to understand. So what she's done really good at is anything that she's gotten on, like if it's a magazine cover or whatever, then she mails it out to the whole town that she's working in.
That's right.
Right? So instead of just like, oh yeah, I'm on this magazine cover, what most people would do is put it on Instagram as a story or a post. What she would do is actually make sure that everybody in that town would see it.
That's right. I would bring that.
And you spent money on it.
That's right, I did. So I took that award and that article that they wrote about me, because third-party sales are the best, right? And I mailed it out to everybody in the town that I was working in. So about 5,000 residences have that. And people actually read it and they saved it. And then I got on a cover of a magazine, and then I put that on a billboard, right? And then
so you put the cover of the magazine on the billboard.
That's right. Yeah. And then when I won an award, I think I was in 2016, I was named one of the most powerful people in real estate award, which that was actually, I didn't even apply for that. I applied for something else, and then someone found it and they nominated me, and there was a series of 35. I was the only woman.
I remember there was like a lot of commercial.
There was so much around that. Yeah. And so I leveraged that as well. So I put that on the billboard and I send it out to my target audience. So anything that I did, I always leveraged, and I think that's important. And I actually did get a call from one of our agents, Claudia, and she had asked me about that, because I think someone had reached out to her about doing some sort of publicity, PR stuff, and she's like, well, how am I going to help this with my brand? And I said, well, you're going to, by leveraging, you're going to make sure that it's going to be on your website, it's going to be on your Zillow bio, right? It's going to be on every postcard that you mail out. At the back of my postcards, I have,
seen in the press,
seen in, and just leverage that. So anything that's tangible, definitely make sure that you have some accolades in there.
And I feel like those things have also led to other things.
Of
right?
course.
Like that's probably one of the reasons, having all those accolades and being on magazine covers and all that stuff probably, and then you leveraging it and promoting and letting people know that you did that.
Right.
I feel like those things also led to
be seen, being seen.
Yeah.
You know, people see, and then there's other opportunities, and there's more calls, and then all of a sudden you're the thought leader, and now you have big media companies from Wall Street Journal, New York Times reaching out to you because you're the real estate expert, and they want to know
from you.
They want a quote, and then you're leveraging that, right? And
then that pops up on SEO.
I was just gonna say that's actually great for SEO, and there's actually a ton of press releases, guys. You know, if you have anything that's newsworthy, either you have a listing that's historical, or, you know, highest sale price in a town, or maybe a celebrity owned it, or some public figure, you know, you could actually send this out to the media outlets. And if it's a story there, they will pick it up. And now your name's in the paper, your name's on Google, and leverage that. So you just have to, you know, work all angles. And that's really what it is.
Yeah. And now, obviously, you know, we have other platforms, not just newspapers, magazines, and TV. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have all the other LinkedIn, right? So whatever it is that you're good at, if you're good at writing, then write articles on LinkedIn.
Blogging.
Right.
Blogging, great.
And
for
then
SEO.
sharing that on LinkedIn, because a lot of people read a lot on LinkedIn and articles. And I feel like there's more thought leaders on LinkedIn than anywhere else.
That's right.
Right. That's where, and there's a lot of professionals, right?
That's
with
right.
affluent homes. And, you know, if you want to be a luxury listing broker, I would imagine that a lot of those affluent people do find somebody that they're connected with through LinkedIn. So whatever it is that you're good at, if you're good at video, right? Again, how you do anything is how you do everything. Your production on your video and what it is that you do. When you get a listing, you've done a great job, right? Ever since I met you, I mean, you were doing videos. I mean, one of the first few videos that were done on a video tour was Joey and Chris,
Yep.
right? Where you're putting
Touring the
yourself
house.
in front of the camera and you're touring the home.
Right.
And that wasn't really being done at that time.
Nobody
Now a
was
lot
doing
more
that.
people do it, but you know, that's you branding yourself, but also branding yourself along with the product that you're selling.
That's right.
Right. And obviously the more affluent areas that you're in selling homes, you're going to start branding yourself as a luxury broker.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, when I go on listing presentations, especially, you know, in the higher end, they are very impressed with marketing and what I, you know,
With the
my
marketing
presentation
side.
with the marketing side. They are very impressed because it's not just saying, you know, I'll do a video, or I'll do this, and we have this, and it's going to be here. It's understanding, and and that took time to understand how marketing works. Like, you'll be surprised on what, you know, the difference between an agent that understands the marketing and what it means than from someone that's just like, you know, this is what we do and don't know anything about how it's actually done, right? And so with that, I'm going to recommend that you guys really dive deep into, you know, reading books. And the seminars I would go to, even with you, we wouldn't go to real estate seminars. We would go to marketing seminars. Like, I want to know everything about marketing. Like, tell me. And I read books, and that was like a passion for so long, and I really understand it. So when I'm, you know, working with my team on the back end stuff of building a website, you know, it's really hard for them to get one over on me, because I know I asked all the right questions, and, you know, how are you going to target this, and how do you do this, and how do you do that? But I wasn't born like that. I didn't know this stuff. This was not my background. I don't have a marketing degree. You learn it, and it's not hard to do. And that has been the needle mover, I think, when people do interview me. And one of the reasons they do go with me is because I understand it, and they are very impressed by that. So marketing is everything, especially if you are a luxury or any real estate agent. If you want to stand out, you have to understand how to market, because we are marketers first and real estate agents second. And the days of putting a for sale sign and, you know, having some nice balloons out and hosting an open house, those are long gone. You know, that's just, people they're finding you online. And like you said, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. And, you know, you've grown your Instagram following pretty well, right? You're at like 30,000 followers now.
I guess. I don't know. We should ask Nino. She's managing that.
So yeah, I mean, now social media I think is important. You know, I'm not great on social media, so I don't want to talk too much about it, because I only like to talk about things that I'm good at. But creating content I think is
great
really
at
valuable.
creating content. You're great at. You're not good at putting it out there. Right. Because you're
and I
so
think
busy.
that's everybody's problem that, you know, is in real estate. Like, it's not about And now we're going to start doing time blocks, right? And where we come in and we record all day, and then that's stuff that we do for the whole month. And, recently we've been doing a really good job until my account got deleted. But we were actually gaining a lot of momentum. But it's fine. We started fresh. So if you're watching this, go follow me at @JON_Steingraber. That's my new Instagram. Yeah. But any tips and tricks for people on social media at all?
I mean, I'm definitely not a social media expert either, right? I mean, we have Nino because that is one thing.
Well, that's it right there. It's if you're not good at
hire
something, hire somebody to do it for you.
It's a job. It's a full-time job.
It is.
Posting, creating content and everything. It's a full-time job. So yeah, no, we're busy, and it's definitely, I've put that on the back burner. But now I have someone and I have gotten such positive feedback too. Like, your Instagram's on fire.
Yeah.
They can tell the
when
difference.
You're working on it and when you're not.
That's right. They can tell the difference between, okay, she probably has someone doing this for her. Yes, I do. Her name is Nino, and no, she's not available for hire. That's right. Right. And, so she's been doing that, and she's doing a great job, and I'm getting a lot of engagement. So,
You're not upset about it, too.
No, because they were bots. I don't want fake people following me. Like, I don't want that. Like, who wants that? I know people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, but like they're paid. They're not
Some
real.
of them are fake, yeah.
Right?
There is actually a website for that you can actually see if somebody has fake followers.
Oh, yeah, why don't you share the website?
I don't know what it is.
Fun.
I
just
know.
Googled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any event. So other questions. So what kind of content should realtors create to build community and establish themselves as a local celebrity, local in the know person? I guess we kind of covered that, right?
I mean, look, you can do themes, right? So like you could do Market Mondays, right? You can do Tip Tuesdays. You can do, Testimonial Thursdays, right? You can do, whatever theme you want, try to stick with that and be consistent, right? I think that's the key with social media that you see, like the people that are constantly putting out content, a lot of them are doing the same thing over and over again. They're just, repurposing it, right? So my best recommendation, which has started working for us, is we just time block. We do a bunch of content, and then you need somebody that's going to help you if you're not willing to do it, to actually distribute that content. And if you need to hire somebody to do it, then if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes, right? But not doing it is probably not the best idea.
Who should you network with to help spread your name throughout the community? Hey, the best is if you're a mom. I think the mom groups are just being very involved in the school. One tip I gave last time was, when even your email, you should have your business email, especially if you're a real estate agent, and not your personal email when you're interacting with the school, because now everyone knows that you're a real estate agent, and that has sparked up conversations with my daughter, her mom my mom friends, right? So, and don't be a secret agent. What do I mean by that? Just put yourself out there, and yeah, you're gonna get criticized. I mean, people have labeled me as aggressive, or, she puts herself out there. Of course. I mean, if I didn't, then would I be where I'm at today? Of course not. Like, don't be a secret agent.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask for,
the
business.
referral and business. And,
right.
We're in sales, guys. Like, this is what we chose. Like, we are in sales. So you have to let people know, and you have to ask for the referral. And ultimately, you're going to do such a great job that you're going to get repeat referrals. But having referrals is just not enough if you want to get to that next level, right? Referral business is a great business, and I know a lot of people that do really well with it, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for more. And if you don't have a strategic marketing plan behind your brand, then you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah. What marketing strategy results in the highest return on investment? Another question we got.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
Why is that hard?
That's a hard one because...
How's that hard?
All right,
let's do this. So list all the ways that you've gotten business this year.
There has been... Okay, so the question is, what marketing strategy results in the highest ROI? So 10 years ago, the highest ROI...
But babe, we're not talking about 10 years
No,
ago.
that's what I'm saying.
We're
It's
talking about
hard. It's hard because 10 years ago was direct mail. Now it's not. Direct mail is just...
But why is that hard? It's not direct mail. What is it?
I think right now is just SEO. Keywords, keyword research, just keywords. People typing in and making,
Well, ads on social media.
I don't know about ads on social
you're getting
media.
a lot of website leads,
Right,
right? Which actually are high quality leads,
right.
right? And then you land those listings. So it's having a website. It's not just SEO,
Right. Well, you
right?
have
It's
to have a
having it's
website.
having a website,
Right.
and what do you do on the website to make sure that people find you? So
Yeah,
you're
make
either
sure you're-
doing organic traffic or paid traffic.
both organic and paid, and it's not cheap, right? So, and I think that, and also, I mean, I have relationships with people that give me business too. So I invest in those relationships. So if you have an attorney or, a mortgage rep or, wherever you're getting your referrals from, I think it's important to be able to also, when you have that relationship, to nurture that relationship, right? Obviously you want to do good by the clients, but you also can't forget about the person referring you. So, one hand also washes the other. So creating those relationships. So I think
Investing in networking.
that's right. That's right. Your event, NJRESN, was such a great event, and I didn't take advantage of it back then, and I don't know why, but I remember that you brought a lot of investors and realtors together, and there was a lot of our agents that got a tremendous amount of business just from that networking event. So go to an NJRESN, which, by the way, you're doing one soon, right?
March 13th. NJRESN.com. Everybody could sign up. We're
Yeah.
doing a top investor panel.
Yeah.
We have 𝗪𝗁𝘁, 𝗪𝗂𝗲𝗆, George Bellino, Mike Gomes, and myself, and I'll be facilitating it. But
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about how to flip properties.
That's right. So, but having events like that where, it's like-minded people that,
Right. So networking,
opportunities.
attending events, nurturing those relationships, making sure that you're asking for referrals.
That's right.
Right? And it is one hand washes the other, right?
and I think creating
Organic SEO,
yes,
right? Website leads,
creating content.
paid SEO, creating content.
That's right. Videos, putting yourself out there. If you want to be known as a neighborhood specialist, maybe, Marina and Galina from our team, they do a great job with the Westfield Minute. They have thousands of people on their email list, and they have over 100 episodes. So that's been, I'm proud of them for doing that. They're putting themselves out there and they're consistent with it. So maybe something around that, creating a little podcast or a little mini TV show or just, whatever it is, just creating content.
Right.
And where you're the thought leader, right? So,
I mean, that serves a purpose for both sphere of influence and then also new people that are going to find your page, right? New audiences. But it also serves a purpose for your sphere. A lot of people don't know how to keep in touch with their sphere. But on social media, it's kind of easy. If everybody's following you on your social media account, now you're putting stuff out.
that's right.
Like, it's kind of like, that's almost like touching your
That's
sphere.
right. One platform. I have definitely seen a boost in followers, and I mentioned this to Nino, from Reels. Reels more so than just a regular post. So do more Reels. I've gotten a boost of followers.
How to deal with negative feedback.
Well, maybe you should answer that.
I should answer that?
I mean, how to deal
does
with,
that
I
mean?
mean, you and I have two very different approaches.
Oh, you mean how I deal with it? Okay.
You are very good at handling problems and issues, and you don't let it bother you, and you just have, it's on to the next, like, okay, whatever, this is happening, all right, next. And I have a hard time. Now, I have learned I have this saying in my head, and I've said this, I think, on a podcast. If an issue arises and you have to ask yourself, is this going to bother me in 5 years from now? If the answer is no, don't spend 5 minutes on it. That's
Don't spend more than 5 minutes.
yeah, that is a little saying that kind of pops in my head. Luckily, I don't have many issues arise, and if they do, I just hand them off to you because you are the broker of records, or technically you're the boss. You also have to realize, like, where is it coming from? Like, where is it coming from? Is it something that you really did, or is it maybe not about you at all? But luckily we don't, negative feedback.
It's interesting, this question, because I would prefer the question be like, well, what if I do marketing and then I get negative feedback, right? Because we're on the marketing topic. And I feel like a lot of people might not put stuff out there because they're going to get negative feedback.
And you will.
And you will,
Yeah.
right? 100%. But back to what you were saying, you have to understand, like, why are people giving you negative feedback? It's probably because they're just, they're jealous or they're envious, or you're doing something that, they wish they would have done, or whatever the case may be, or they're just plain out hating on you. And there's a reason for that, on their own, in their own life, that they probably have a situation where, they were bullied and now they're trying to bully other people, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I've seen it with you where, you have a billboard and maybe somebody makes a negative comment about the billboard, right? And it's like, where's your billboard? Right? Like, don't hate. Like, she's putting herself out there. She's growing her business. And the only thing that I would say about negative feedback, and I've said this to you, for every one person that is negative to you, there's 10,000 people that are inspired by you. And that's the truth. Like, for you, it's very easy to be affected by negative feedback, but you have to turn around and be like, well, for how many positive experiences that I put out, or how many positive things came from this, versus the one idiot that has something negative to say. Gary Vaynerchuk always says negativity is louder than positivity. And one of his objectives is to make positivity louder than negativity, right? And it's like the negative person is always going to write a longer review.
Yeah.
Right? The positive person's going to be like, great experience, right?
And
5 stars.
Yeah. And you can have 1,000 positive reviews and 1 negative. They're just going to
Well, the other day we got a negative review from a guy, and then he took it down because I spoke to him and he realized, like, oh, okay, I'm basically making up 90% of what my negative review is. And I basically told him, like, let's talk this out, because this is obviously not a reflection of reality. And he didn't think that I would even call him, because I call every single person that posts something if I can get their contact information. And it's funny because, like, we went from 4.95 stars to 4.9 stars. It's like you have 500 5-star reviews, and then you have one asshole, right, that's posting a 1-star review. And you have to ask yourself, like, okay, I'll spend some energy on this, but I'm not going to spend a lot of energy on it, right? Like, I'm going to try to address it and solve their issue, but we're doing pretty good, right? It's like you shouldn't let that ruin your life.
Yeah.
Because you have one negative person. And I think in life, you don't have a scoreboard of how many positive people were impacted by you.
Yeah. And I also don't, I think as humans, we don't, sometimes we are used to getting positive feedback, and we don't really pay as much attention to the positive feedback anymore. But when that one negative comment, you obviously like react, and it's like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, you're trying to get all defensive, and this is not what happened, and whatnot. I also have developed a very, very thick skin.
Well, you've gotten way better. They say that you shouldn't ever let somebody else control your emotions.
Yeah.
Right? And if I can affect you in a negative way, I'm controlling you.
Right.
Right? I'm controlling your emotions.
Right.
And that's what, I think you've learned over the years. Like, you're letting this person affect you, and they're controlling your emotions.
Yeah.
And then you've realized, like, I'm not going to let that happen anymore.
No, and I'd be lying if I told you that, I'm human, that negativity doesn't affect me. Like, it still does. It just doesn't affect me.
But
like,
we were on a TV show.
I was just going to say, I think
like,
being on a television show, being on 2 television shows, you will get over that real quick, because there's nothing else that anyone could say that's worse than what I've heard.
Internet trolls do,
right?
yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. You just develop a thick skin. It's also maturity, right? When you're at the point, so here's the thing, guys, and you can attest to this, when I was hustling and I was growing my business, the reason that if I got any negative feedback, it would upset me so much, because I felt that was going to hurt my business.
You always thought that?
Always thought that. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to, like, my business is over. Like, this person's going to ruin it for me. And it affected me because that's what I thought.
You thought it was such a bigger impact than it really was.
That's right. And then
you made it a bigger problem. When you give more
right.
energy to problems, the problems
That's
get bigger, right?
And then 20 years later,
we're still progressing
successful.
and succeeding.
Every year we just get bigger and bigger. So it's like, okay, it doesn't, but that comes with maturity and experience. No one, here's the thing, there's no blueprint. No one's going to sit down with you at a table and say, hey, by the way, this is the journey, this is the end goal, and while you're growing, you're gonna have this, and this is what's gonna happen to you. Like, no one teaches you that. So you're going through life thinking, okay, I'm doing a good job, but then you're forgetting that maybe some people may not like you, or may say a comment that you don't like.
Well, the only people that have really said bad things about you are other
competitors.
jealous realtors.
I know that.
I mean, that's the
that.
reality.
No, I know that, but still.
That they're just not as successful, and they don't like that you're successful. I don't know.
And I also think that I'm a woman. I gotta tell you, like,
It's not being a woman.
Yes,
Get over that.
babe,
It's not being a woman.
Babe, I am so sorry. No, you get over it, because it's easy for him to say because you're a man. And I feel like in this business, how many women do you know that own a brokerage, that are CEOs, that opened at 29 years old, that, you know, has
What does that have to do with it?
But there's not a lot of women. It's mostly
Okay, but then I'll counter that with this.
a male
How many women
oriented-
that are 29 that open up a brokerage are inspiring thousands of other women?
Babe, I'm telling
It's
you.
It's not women, because you can't say it's a woman thing, because you've inspired more women than any other woman that I know. So you've given more positivity to tons of women out there. Almost every female that comes to Signature Realty is like, we're like, hey, you know, so how did you hear about us? Well, I've heard Michelle Pais. I saw her at this event. I read her. Ileani came to us because she opened up her mail and she opened up an article and it was you, and she read it and she goes, I'm getting into real estate. Like, how many people? It's not a woman thing.
It's a woman thing.
No, it's not a woman thing.
Babe, what I'm saying to you, and I have had this happen to me. People, okay, the public, people think because you are a woman, you are weak.
Who thinks that?
The trolls, or I don't know, just they think that you're weaker because you're a woman.
No, they don't.
Okay.
You got to stop doing that.
Babe, I'm not. I'm
That's
just
not
telling
true.
you. You know what? This is I wonder. We should have a poll. Like, how
I
many?
don't care what anybody says.
I'm just
I
telling
literally
you.
don't
I'm
care. It
telling
has
you.
nothing to do with reality. It's
I
not
just
about
think I
women.
am
It's not
treated-
about men.
Babe, I just think I'm treated differently. Like, here's the thing.
You're treated differently by who? By
By-
other women that are jealous in the same town that you're doing business in,
No.
that you just took a listing from?
No. I'm talking about,
What do you
know,
mean?
I'll go on. I'll tell you. I'll give you an exact example.
Give me one example.
I was on a listing, and this was a seller, and you know who they are. I'm not going to say who they are. It was a $7.5 million listing, $8 million listing I went on, and the owners. Okay, and I actually ended up co-listing it with a male agent because I got the vibe from that meeting that this was not going to be a good fit, because I felt that I just felt like
Babe, I walked into that listing.
Yes.
And they looked me up and down like I was a piece of garbage. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're a female. You know that.
I don't know.
I walked into that listing, did I not?
Yes.
And they looked me up and down like I was a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the fact that you're a female.
I think they were.
It doesn't. It just has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
You being a female has nothing to do with anything.
It's easy for you to say that because you haven't been in.
Give
my
me another
shoes.
example.
I don't know.
That
if I
wasn't
wanna
a good example.
No, because you weren't there and you haven't.
I
been
was there.
Babe, you weren't
I actually
there.
was there.
No, you were there after the fact.
And then they treated me just like they treated you. And I'm a male.
But.
And they treated the videography team the same exact way. How about we just come to terms with there's some piece of shit people out there that are scumbags and they think that they're better than the rest of the world. Can we say that?
No,
That's a reality. It's not about you being a female or a male.
I don't know.
There's
I
just
hope
people
you're
out
right.
there that are,
No,
they're not good people.
I don't know, babe. I still think there's people out there that are so old school, especially, and they just feel like, I can't hire someone that's a woman and that's more successful than I am. I just feel like that exists.
Yeah, there are some women like that, and there are some
And
men
there are
like
some
that.
women like that
so
too.
it has nothing to do with
being-
the sex
No,
or the
I'm not
gender.
I'm not saying that the hate comes from just one sex or the other.
No, I know, but you're saying that the hate is directed towards
in some
gender
cases-
female.
In some
That's
cases,
not true.
In some cases, I have been on the opposite side where a person will not hire me because I am a woman, and if I am more successful in their mind, if I'm deemed to be more successful than them, they won't hire me. I'm telling you.
That's your excuse of not overcoming whatever objection they had.
Is this a therapy session?
No, I'm just saying that's your excuse of not
overcoming.
overcoming whatever objection they had. You have to justify it to say, oh, they're not hiring me because I'm a woman. I'm sorry, that's not true. Like there's a million ways to handle that, and you could objection block that.
I don't think
if you ever feel like that,
Babe, I
if
don't
you
think
look
they
at
actually will say to you, "By the way, I'm not hiring you."
female ran companies, Fortune 500 companies, female CEOs do better than males.
So you're telling me right now that there's people that don't discriminate against women?
I'm not
Is that what
saying
you're
that.
Okay.
I'm saying that you can't have that as a label or a reason to justify why one thing doesn't go right or
Babe,
wrong.
I'm saying this because I've experienced it. Like I've experienced it
Okay,
multiple
okay,
occasions.
but when
One
you make
time I
a
was
broad,
pregnant,
but babe, you make
and
a
I
broad
didn't get the
sweep.
job because I was pregnant.
Okay, that I understand. That I 100%
Like, I didn't get it
understand.
'cause I was pregnant.
That I 100% understand, right? But to make a broad sweeping statement that it's because I'm a woman, that's not true. There's people that if you're Portuguese, they're not going to hire you. If you're black, they're not going to hire you. If you're white, they're not going to hire you. If you're not Asian, they're not going to hire you. Some people like to hire certain people within their group to understand what it is that their needs and wants are or whatever. So it's not a broad sweeping statement of saying, there's this. That's not how it is, right? 99.9% of the time, it's never about that. That's the truth.
Well, guys, we really went on this
Marketing, folks. Marketing.
marketing time. We went on this whole road, a little bit of psychology,
It's true.
and a little bit of marketing all in one episode. This was great. Well, babe, on that note, these were all the questions. These were good.
How to deal with negative. That was negative
That was
feedback.
it. All right.
That was it.
This was great, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Signature Sip.
Thanks for watching, guys. Follow us on Signature Sip on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. We have a bunch of podcasts out. And if you want to come to our top investor panel event that we're holding on March 13th, visit njresn.com. See you soon.